it seems like you sort of found some identity over the last couple of weeks, in particular with your 3-3-5, with the way Charlie and Quez and Ace are playing together. Has that been a surprise to you, like how successful that's been, and kind of something you want to continue to roll with some?
Not a surprise. I'd kind of given this preview to you last week, but we've been working on that structure for a while. Didn't necessarily hide it, but I mean, we during fall camp and even on Saturday scrimmages, and we threw it out there quite a few times. Just held a little bit first game wise, but I just don't want to overstate the scheme thing. I think it's helped us in ways, and I want to make sure that I do overstate just how the kids are playing. I think our identity has nothing to do with structure and has everything to do with how hard they're playing and just the effort, just the violence, the physicality they're playing with, and then the energy that you're playing with. I think coaches always give coach speak, and we try to not say bad things about the other opponent and always try to compliment the other opponent. But one of the biggest compliments that got to me was Sam Howell's comments after the game. And I think the question was posed to him, hey, Virginia also tried to get into a 3-3-5 structure. It's not a magical structure. It's not a magical defense, but he was asked, hey, what was the difference in Georgia Tech and what was the difference in Virginia? And this is not to knock on Virginia, but these are his words. He was just like, Georgia Tech played a physical brand of football. So I think it has everything to do. I wish I could give you a cooler answer about 3-3-5 being some magical scheme. It's not. It's how hard the kids are playing. It's how they're running to the football, how we're getting back to our trained behaviors of attacking the football. Jordan Dominic changed the complexity of the game with the first takeaway. Sam Howell made an unbelievable first touchdown run where we missed multiple tackles and we were going high for the football, and we had seen him rush for 100 yards in the two previous games, but we just said, hey, we were going to have accumulative body blows over the course of the game. And then Jordan Dominic made a game-changing play early on to knock the football out. Then John Brooks was able to knock the football out, and that kind of got him out of his running game a little bit from there, and we were able to attack him all day. But I know I'm getting long-winded with your answer, but again, I don't want to overstate the scheme. It's been good. It's getting our best personnel on the field, but it's how the kids are playing. It has everything to do with intangibles and their mindset right now. And I'm really, really proud of the brand of football that we're putting out on the field right now.
Ron.
You face a quarterback in Pickett who has given your defense some problems the last couple of years. What does he do that makes him so difficult to defend?
Why does this guy not get more attention? He is one of the elite quarterbacks in college football right now. I mean, this is the number 2 offense in the country, and they're number 1 on total scoring by 0.2 points, I believe. I think Ole Miss has 0.3 more points a game than them, and Ole Miss has only played 3 games. Pitt played 4, and everything is centered around Kenny Pickett. He's a 8th-year super senior. I think he's been here since the impetus of the ACC. It seems like he's been – I've only been here for a couple of years, but I feel like I've been going against him forever. He is a frustrating dude to compete against. He has great management of the game. He has a great feel for the game. He has great control. And whatever you may think about the eye test of what he looks like as far as escaping the pocket, he is very difficult to tackle once he moves outside of the pocket. So a quality, capable thrower. His passing efficiency is 195 right now. He's got 15 touchdowns to 1 interception. Jordan Addison, the wide receiver, has 23 catches and 8 touchdowns. Every third time he gets a catch, he scores a touchdown. Like, he's had 5 touchdowns in the last 3 games. So we're getting a lot of pats on the back this week, and then we get rewarded by arguably one of the best offenses, if not the best offense in the country in the ACC right now this week, and it is all because of Kenny Pickett. So I can't overstate how good he is and just how mature and how developed he is. He should get way more attention than he's getting right now. He is top notch. He's playing better than any quarterback in the league right now.
Okay.
Except for our guy, Jeff and Jordan.
Their first drive in the second half, when you stopped them 2nd and 1, 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, obviously a big turning point in the game. But I'm curious, what does that say about the defense, I guess, that they're able to do something like that? And I don't know, that's something you could have done,
Yeah.
Even a few weeks ago.
I am always hope this doesn't come off like narcissistically, but it comes off as kind of counterintelligence. But I always like to listen to what the other coaches say about us after the game. So it was really interesting to hear what Mac Brown said I think they were searching in that moment. I think we came out and created a bunch of negative plays early, and they went into halftime. This is an explosive offense that's used to scoring, and they went into halftime at 7 points, and then they came out and they needed a spark and they needed energy, and he, I would argue that he forced it a little bit. And we were playing pretty good defense, so he said, I'm going to go for it on 2nd one, I'm going to go for it on 3rd one, I'm going to go for it on 4th and 1. And Tobias Oliver was able to step in there and make a tackle on Sam Howell exactly like we practiced. He didn't do anything special. He didn't do anything extra. It had nothing to do with the call that I made and everything just with Tobias Oliver relying on his training and then the defense just topping off the pile. But there were a lot of turning points and momentum builders and whatever in the game, but that really established kind of the identity of the day right there. It was a big moment. It was as much as we try to take it one play at a time, there's momentum in college football. There's momentum in the game, and just that feeling, that mood, what it did for the offense. I think the offense went down and scored right after that. We got some points off takeaways. They don't count 4th down stops and then points off of those as points off takeaways, but we inside the building, when we get a 4th down stop and the offense goes down and scored, it's exactly like getting a takeaway. So we created that in that moment. So what it does for the team, that was special, and it builds confidence. That's what it does. It builds confidence. Those things are hard. It's hard to get a 3rd and 1 to stop, and it is hard to get off the field on 4th down as offenses in college football are continuing to go for it. All this metrics and all this stuff is telling offenses that it's an efficient down for them to go on a 4th and 1, 4th and 2, and we're getting it all the time, and it's frustrating. So when you get a stop, it builds something for us, and for those guys, it tells them that they're in for a long day.
Coach Thacker, I know every defensive coordinator's best game is like not allowing any points, but of course in each game you want to limit the offense's amount of points. But in your last 3 games, you only allowed 17.3 points compared to like 38.6 last year as a whole. What do you feel has been what is just your mindset on allowing points, and what do you think has been successful in that?
Yeah. I think everything is built for offenses to have success these days. So we look a lot into points per possession. So not so much just the final score or points at the end of the game. So points per possession. So right now I don't know that metric off the top of my head, but the average in college football is to be around two points per possession. So if you get 15 possessions in the game, whatever that math is, we're below 1.5, 1.4, 1.3ish. I think something like that. So that's what I'm proud of, not just the final score right now. So the more possessions there are, that's obviously the more opportunities our offense is also getting as well while we're keeping those down. At the end of the day, you mentioned the last 3 games. So in the last 3 games, we're 2-1. And that's the ultimate metric that we're worried about. How do we find a way to get a team cumulative as a win? That being said, the other thing that you just asked about stats, the thing that we're trying to do is be disruptive and get them off schedule early on downs. So we were able to collect those sacks that we got because they were off schedule, because we got them in the 2nd long, because we got them in the 3rd long, because we have a lead, and then in a 2-minute situation on 3rd down, they've got to throw the ball down the field, and they're not having efficient gains and efficient plays in that situation. So our chaos index up, that's defined as sacks, TFLs, off-schedule plays. Obviously, takeaways are huge. And then one thing's in terms of takeaways, interceptions are so cool, and there's going to be one game where our DBs or whoever's just going to take over. Charlie Thomas had 2 in one game versus Kennesaw State, but at some games it's just going to happen. We're just going to get a bunch of interceptions. Our DBs are elite. At the moment of truth, they're going to finish and make plays, but I am so proud that the way that we're winning on turnover margin and the way that we're winning on takeaways is we are creating fumbles, forced fumbles. And as far as return on investment, that's the behavior that we train the most, that we're getting return on investment. I'm really, really proud of the guys getting that done on Saturday.
Time for a few more. Kelly, start.
Jordan Dominic obviously gets a lot of ink for his play, and Charlie as well. But a guy who I think's really impressed me with how much he's grown is Jared Ivey and kind of what he's doing. Can you talk a little bit about Jared and kind of his progression?
Yeah. Number one part of his progression is he is 6'6", 270, so that's a good starting point. So when you have a field in that occupies space and just has the talent that he has, he's done a great job. He is maturing. We've got to I'll tell his mama that. I'll tell him that to his face. He is maturing. He's learning how to be a non-freshman right now, and just as a young man. But I'm really proud of his progress. I'm really proud of the product he's putting on the field on Saturday. The two plays that actually stand out in my mind is they had been having a lot of success with Josh Downs running tunnel screens. So they had a play set up perfectly. But he's a defensive end who was in a pass rush mode. He put his foot in the ground, and you retrace on screen. So he put his foot on the ground, retrace, and on a tunnel screen to Josh Downs, who's one of the most explosive slots in ACC in the country, he was able to tackle him. That is his high school teammate, so that was pretty cool. I think he got up and said a couple little things to him right there. Then we had another sideline play where he chased from his field defensive end over into the boundary. So the effort he's playing with is showing up as well. But he's playing at a high level. Really, really glad we got him. And he's still very early on in his development when you talk about his development. But proud of him and a lot of the guys.
We'll wrap up with Rod and Ken. A couple of quick points.
Tobias Oliver has gotten increased reps. What has he added to the stability and the consistency of your defensive secondary?
Yeah. All the cliches that you think you hear, the non-entitlement and you earn everything you get, man, they hold true for that young man. So I know Coach talks about him a lot, just the arc of his story being here and what he's been through. But just when we get to do this, I know we're in a production business and this and that, but a lot of times you're proud to be a part of something bigger than yourself and be able to experience something like that for a young man like Tobias Oliver. Just the level of maturity he has, how he's handled his college career and how he handles every single day. It's special. So I'm really proud of him. Obviously, we referenced the fourth down stop earlier. It's cool to see him make that play. But the things that you don't see, the defensive line or whoever or Charlie are getting, credit for all of the sacks and the TFLs, but it's because there was tight coverage all day. And his reps continue to increase. He really got going in Kennesaw State because he's a physical tackler and smart and reliable dude. And now he's out there playing against elite wide receivers and explosive teams right there and holding up in a big way. So really proud of him, and he'll continue to get a lot of reps because he's earned everything that he's gotten.
Ken?
I know you can't say a ton necessarily, but Keon White, just how is he doing as far as attitude and just being hopeful to come back?
Awesome. I'll give you just a little bit underneath the hood. We had one halftime deal where he popped up in a halftime speech, and when you do that, you better have your teammates' respect. And it's hard to get your teammates' respect without playing in those moments or whatever, but he has his teammates' respect. He brings a level of maturity. We talked about Jared Ivey, but we talked about Coach Coleman's room is still fairly young. Got a bunch of young pups in there, the Jared Iveys, the Kyle Kennards, the Josh Robinsons. So he brings a level of maturity and a level of seriousness. Yeah. And we've got a bunch of young men that are, most of them are 18 to 22-year-old, and they're maturing and they're learning how to be young men and to be men. But he acts and functions like a grown man, and we're hoping that rubs off that level of maturity and that seriousness in the way that he handles his business in that room.
Awesome.